Matt Viser is Deputy Washington Bureau Chief for the Boston Globe, and he joins me now from Washington to talk about what's been going on. We're going to talk, well, we'll start with Flynn, but there's so much more to talk about with you. So, General Flynn, what are your sources telling you about his future in the White House? Will he have a job?
He's in a very difficult position. This is an instance where the cover-up may have been worse than the crime itself. Michael Flynn reportedly was in conversations with the Russian ambassador before Donald Trump took office, before they were in power. The more damaging aspect is that he appears to have misled the Vice President, Mike Pence, potentially as well as the President, Donald Trump, over what the content of those discussions were about, which caused Mike Pence in particular to vociferously deny that there was any talk of sanctions during those conversations. We now know that there's probably transcripts of those calls. Intelligence agencies in the United States routinely tap the calls of foreign leaders, foreign officials. So we probably have those contents now. And because of that, Flynn is in a very precarious position inside the White House.
Indeed, but still, he traveled with the president to Florida this weekend as the president hosted Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Now, Flynn was right beside him. He's also on the national security team. He remains on the national security team. That team dealing with something very interesting over the weekend, ballistic missile test by North Korea. What are lawmakers on Capitol Hill saying about this test, but also, more importantly, about the president's response, which was somewhat subdued?
It was. It was very short, saying we stand 100% with Japan. This was one of those situations where things are sort of moving quickly, changing rapidly during a discussion like that. So, I think people are looking at those kinds of discussions to sort of see where to go with that.
Let's talk about these the recurring suggestion that there's widespread voter fraud. You've been doing some great work reporting on the president's unproven claim about voter fraud, particularly in New Hampshire. It's something that he talked about in front of a group of senators when they were all gathered to hear about his Supreme Court nominee. He brought that up. And there has been some pushback. So first off, what I want you to do is sort of like lay out the claims. What are the claims that are coming out of the White House, and what's the response been?
So this goes back, to right after his election. President Trump has been claiming voter fraud. He lumped New Hampshire in with several other states as part of that back in December. He resurrected that idea last week when he was meeting with senators, a room full of Democratic and Republican senators trying to talk to them about Judge Gorsuch. In that room was Kelly Ayotte, the former senator from New Hampshire who lost her reelection bid to Maggie Hassan, the Democrat from New Hampshire, in November. Donald Trump also lost the state to Hillary Clinton. Both were very narrow losses. Trump in that meeting claimed that buses full of Massachusetts residents were going to New Hampshire to vote. Thousands of them, he claimed. We've talked to the Secretary of State. We've talked to a lot of people in New Hampshire, a lot of longtime New Hampshire Republicans who say that this is bogus. There's no proof, no evidence. There were lawyers who were monitoring the election sites. It would be very difficult to carry out something of this scale and this magnitude. Moreover, Donald Trump and Kelly Ayotte both had a chance to request recounts for a fee of just $500. If they felt like there was something nefarious going on in the election, you would think that they would do that. Neither of them did. Kelly Ayotte has, by the way, said that she accepts the results of the election and does not think that there was mass fraud. There is a debate in New Hampshire about changing some of their election laws that she supports, but she sort of distanced herself from Donald Trump on this. So this is yet another claim that is not backed up by any facts on the ground.
Yeah, but it certainly seems like the White House is not backing down at all. Senior policy advisor Stephen Miller was asked about this on the Sunday morning political shows. I want to listen. Let's listen to what he had to say, and then I want to get your reaction to it.
Go to New Hampshire, talk to anybody who's worked in politics there for a long time. Everybody's aware of the problem in New Hampshire with respect to
I'm asking you as the White House senior
hold
on a second. I'm asking you as the White House senior policy advisor. The president made a statement saying he was the victim of voter fraud, people being bused from Massachusetts and New Hampshire.
Was.
Do you have any evidence?
If this is an issue that interests you, then we can talk about it more in the future. And we now have our government's beginning to get stood up, but we have a Department of Justice and we have more officials. And the issue of voter fraud is something we're going to be looking at very seriously and very hard.
George really pushed him hard on this idea of providing proof until he sort of ended the interview exasperated that there was no proof to be provided. What do you make of that back and forth?
I mean, I think to Stephen Miller's point, we've talked to a lot of people who have been involved, as he pointed out, in New Hampshire politics for a long time. This has been a claim that has been out there in past elections. Again, with no proof, no evidence that Massachusetts residents are going up. It should be said that they do go up mostly to, and you'll see election poll sites filled with plates from Massachusetts. The reason for that is there are people going up to volunteer, to work on campaigns, to hold signs outside, not to actually vote in the election. So, there's a difference in sort of how people are active in New Hampshire. So, I mean, I think if there's evidence that would be looked at, certainly investigated. But so far, there's been no evidence to back up the claim.
All right, that explains a lot, because I wondered, where are people getting this idea that there are busloads of people coming in, and that would sort of explain if you saw something like that happening. Okay, so the news of the day, though, is that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, will be meeting with Donald Trump. The two men, I think, couldn't be more different, and certainly Justin Trudeau made it very well known that he had a bit of a bromance with Barack Obama, a different sort of relationship here. We don't know, might be. But they have some differences. Trudeau has been critical in regards to the refugee, the ban, and a few other areas where there may be disagreements, like free trade. What are you expecting out of the meeting?
I mean, I think, some of these early meetings, you oftentimes expect them to go well. Although some of the reports that we get about some of the phone calls in particular, they've not gone quite well, and some key allies. But you expect, Trump to sort of welcome Trudeau. They'll certainly, have probably a good early meeting. Although, as you point out, there are some key differences, primarily on sort of refugees. And Trudeau's been quite critical of the change in policy that Trump is trying to implement. So I think that will be a topic of discussion, along with things like TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deals, and things like that Canada sometimes has different policies than the United States, and we may be starting to see some rifts in some of those areas.
All right, Matt Viser of the Boston Globe, we appreciate your time.
Thank you.